Marley and Me, Homeward Bound, Lassie, Milo, and Otis. Almost everyone recognizes these film titles and knows the common theme among them. These tales of adventurous dogs and cats tug, at least a little, on our heartstrings. It is no secret that pets play a major role in many homes. According to a 2009 survey conducted by the Humane Society of the United States, 39% of households own at least one dog, and 33% own at least one cat. These statistics show just how popular pets are, but it takes more than numbers to portray how special they are. Shadow is an example of a pet that has made a lasting impression on my life. His favorite toy frog is what I will be using to explain how special Shadow was, how I'm like this frog, and what could make an old dog toy so significant for me. Shadow was a golden retriever Irish setter mix that my parents surprised my brother and me with for Easter. Although my brother will tell you otherwise, I was the first to fall in love with him when we went that night to select our puppy. Shadow grew up to be a sweet dog, full of joy and love for our family and other dogs, and also full of interesting quirks. One of Shadow's quirks was his fear of thunder. This is where the frog comes in. Whenever it stormed, Shadow's ears would fall flat to his head, his tail tucked between his legs, but he would not hide. Instead, he would first search the house for his frog, which also served as his trusty sidekick. Then, he would patrol the entire house, making sure everyone was okay, with his frog croaking in his mouth the entire route. All the while, Shadow somehow still managed to have a smile on his face. However, much of the frog's meaning lies in it being my primary keepsake of Shadow, who passed away unexpectedly. As a reward for being good, we bought him a nice big dog bone from Publix. Shadow suddenly seemed painful, panting, and barely able to walk. So my mom decided to take him to the emergency vet first thing in the morning. But when her alarm went off, it was already too late. So, in Shadow's memory, I keep beside my bed a picture of him set directly by his old friend, the frog. So, what do I see of myself in this old croaking stuffed animal? Like the frog was to Shadow, I am a good friend and comforter. When one thinks of stuffed animals, an image of a young child and his or her favorite teddy commonly comes to mind. They carry that teddy everywhere they go, knowing they always have at least one friend by their side, especially when they need someone to comfort them in times of fear, sadness, or loneliness. In the same way, I do everything in my power to always be right by my friends, whether literally or figuratively. I spend time with my friends as much as possible, and will meet with them anytime if they need advice or just a shoulder to cry on. If I can't be with them physically, I am always just a text message, email, or phone call away. Also, Shadow's frog represents one of the most important aspects of my life, my Christianity. According to the Theosophy Trust Memorial Library, the frog represented birth and resurrection in ancient artifacts. This was originally used to represent the Egyptian goddess Hecate, but was then carried into Christianity. This stems from the three-stage life cycle of the frog, transforming from egg to tadpole to frog, much like the three-part view of God as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It also relates to how the frog is figuratively reborn during its transformation, living in the water as a tadpole and then emerging as a new terrestrial being. In parallel, Christians describe water baptism as being reborn, as forgiven followers of Christ. All of this hits home for me, as my faith is the foundation of who I am and the life I live. It is truly amazing what an impact such a small event or object can have on a person. The loss of the beloved dog this frog represents was one of the key moments in my life that I knew I was meant to be a veterinarian. When Shadow passed away, I was determined to learn everything my brain could handle about animals, so I would know what to do if such a situation ever arose again. Also, the frog represents the all-important little things in life, which can bring bouts of joy even when we feel surrounded by darkness or sadness. Shadow's frog represents Shadow's character. Every time I see this frog, it reminds me to try to simply take joy in living and to never give up determination to take care of loved ones, no matter what the cost, because that is what Shadow did. In the end, it may seem crazy that this entire speech stemmed from an old dog toy that only croaks half the time that it's squeaked, but this goes to show that many objects are more than just objects. They can help us understand a little more about ourselves, and they can hold some of the most important memories, like those of our furry friends who not only hold a special place in our homes, but also in our hearts.